No, please. Please stop.
You can't run. You can't hide. Get them before they get you.
Hey guys, Sam here with HorrorMom.com, and I am so excited to be back with you guys today. I know I haven't been posting a lot of videos, but it's just been a crazy summertime. My kids are off of school. You know how it goes with summer, but I'm still here and I will be definitely posting more. And I just wanted to do a video talking about the new movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer. And if you're like me, you probably were really excited when you heard about the fact they were going to be doing this movie. Like they redid Scream and all these other films that we loved back from the 90s or the 80s or the 2000s. And when I saw that Jennifer Love Hewitt was in it and Freddie Prinze Jr., I was like, oh yes, this will be so fun. And I really did wonder how they were going to do this, what they were going to do with this story. If you've watched the original two films, which I think are excellent horror films, they're fun, they're exciting, they have great casts, and they're great rewatches. If you have never seen the original I Know What You Did Last Summer or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, go check those out because they hold up today. They're filled with great actors, they're fun, they're scary, and they're just really well done. And I did have expectations that this one would be similarly good. I knew they could probably not ever beat the original, but you know, you're like, they could still make it really pretty good. So after seeing it, I wanted to let you guys know what I thought about it. First thing I want to tell you so that I do not forget, there is an end credit scene that is super, super important in this movie. And I had heard that, thank God, because I'm not sure if I would have stuck around to see it. So before the final credits roll, you got to stick around. And not only is it important, but it's going to leave you with a positive view of the movie. It's going to get you kind of inspired. And if you maybe weren't 100% happy with what they did, this is going to be something that's going to make you feel a lot better when you leave the theater. So you got to see the end credit. So in the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, we have a very similar story of the first one. You've got a group of teens on the 4th of July. Something traumatic happens, there's a death involved, and then a year later, they all become hunted and traumatized by someone that's trying to get revenge on what they did a year ago. They get the notes, they start seeing the fisherman and the slicker and the hook, all very similar, and they have to figure out who it is before that person finds them. So the plot, it's very easy to follow along. It's pretty much the same recipe as the first one. I think this movie becomes problematic when they try to mirror scenes from the original too much. They didn't make this movie different enough. And so therefore, you're constantly comparing it to the original. You know, I wish they would have done something a little more different. They still could have been in the same town. I love the fisherman and the slicker and the hook. I love all that. That's perfect. But it just felt too similar. When you watch the original, and then you watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, they are in the same realm, but they are very different movies. Why isn't this third sequel a very different movie? I don't know why they did that. I think it was a mistake. For a score, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I was going to give it a 6.25, but I'm giving it a 6.5 because of the ending and the promise of another film. Here's some things that I did like about the movie. I thought it was very fast-paced. I was entertained. I thought that the story flowed, you know, very quickly. It kind of had me on my toes as far as I was trying to figure out who it was. If you're interested in this movie, go see it. Just know it's not going to be, you know, as excellent as the originals, but I do think that you'll enjoy it. You'll want to see what happens. You'll want to see how everything plays out. And something else that's different about the original and about this movie, the original has a really star-studded cast, in my opinion. And you even have Anne Heche and Bridget Wilson, who played Helen's sister, but Anne Heche was Billy Blue's sister, and she was out at that farm. There's no scene that's kind of like that where the two girls are off doing a bunch of research. The misdirection there, I think the film was lacking something like that. That kind of moment when the characters are really figuring out a couple things and it's creepy and eerie and you have a strange character off there. We were missing something like that in this one, in my opinion. And the last thing I'm going to kind of harp on about this movie was about the lead characters. In the new movie, you have Ava and Danica, and they are the besties, and you're really supposed to be attached to them, kind of like Helen and Julie were in the original. But here's the problem. This is what I noticed. From when the incident happens on 4th of July, Danica and Ava, their characters do not change a year later. We are introduced to Ava again, and she seems, other than maybe, I don't know, just kind of a little jaded, she seems relatively the same, and Danica is absolutely the same. She is concerned about herself, she's materialistic, she's spoiled. It doesn't mean that I dislike her character necessarily, but I definitely was not going to be super attached to her. In the original, when we're introduced to Helen and we're introduced to Julie as besties, they are definitely like, you know, young and vibrant. And then the incident happens, and then when we meet them a year later, they are drastically different. Julie is clearly depressed and messed up, but Helen, even though she looks the same, she's clearly bothered by what happened. She has guilt. She has much more empathy for other people, and she's just a different person now. This has really changed her. And the fact that Ava and Danica didn't really change, I really felt like they were really trying to get us to really like these two. You know, maybe they should have changed their characters and made them actually, you know, affected by what happened. I thought that was really strange. So that's something I noticed. I would love to know what you guys think about that. Did you pick up on that? Do you think that made a difference? And lastly on this film, I think part of the problem as to why this movie isn't just firing on all cylinders is because I don't think that the characters were as likable or memorable as the original film. The characters were given in this film. I didn't find that I was attached to any of them. I don't think any of them were endearing or you know, if they were to die, I wouldn't necessarily miss them. Ava, her personality and her judgments of what she does in the airport, I don't know. They just didn't work for me. So I do think that my attachment to the characters really only stemmed in this movie with Julie and Ray, and they weren't in the movie a ton. They're not the leads. It's this group of mid-20-somethings, and you've got to have characters that we care about, that we want to root for, that if they die, we're going to be sad. I would say the one character that I did kind of like was Teddy. I think he was affected by what happened. He was affected by what happened with Danica because he really liked her. I saw emotion from him. So I will say that's one character that I actually kind of liked was Teddy. And all the rest though, I just don't think that they had emotional changes, and I don't think that they were characters that we really cared about. And I think that's where this movie went wrong. I think even with all the other mishaps, even with some of the too many scenes that were mirrored and too many things that maybe couldn't be done as well as the original, overall, the characters, if you don't care about the characters, if you're not invested in them, then your audience doesn't care. That is where I'm at with this movie. I don't necessarily think you need to go spend a bunch of money at the theater or rent it for $20 when it comes out on VOD. You know, I would hold off on that. But if you're like me and there's a movie, something that has to do with the past, you just got to see it. So I would love to know what you guys think about this one. And if you saw it in the theater or if you rent it later on and see this video later, let me know what your thoughts. I would love to know what you guys think about these characters and about the changes that they did from the original, you know, to now. What do you think about everything that they did? And if you have something for a spoiler, just type spoiler, hit enter a couple times, and then that way we won't ruin anything for anybody. But I would love to discuss this movie. So I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you're having a great summer and you're staying cool wherever you are, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Hi! Thanks for coming! Can you believe our best friends are getting married?
What are you waiting for?